guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's project I'll be using these 10 centimeters by 10 mirror tiles, some 4 glasses that I got from dollar store to make a beautiful candle holder. I also got some LED lights from an online shop. I needed them in white but they were out of stock, so I got the colored ones. And finally, I'll be using a white foam board which I also got from dollar store to make this beautiful candle holder. First, I started by placing the mirror tiles on top of the foam board so as to get the right measurements that I needed for the base of the candle holder. Once I made sure the mirror tiles were in line, I took my pencil and traced them out onto the foam board. I took my X-Acto knife to cut down the lines that I had drawn on the foam board so as to get my base. I made 2 of them, so I'll be using these 2 foam boards to make the base of the candle holder. I started by gluing them down using my hot glue gun and placed them firmly so as to make sure there's no spacing on the sides. Once the glue was dry, I went ahead to cover the sides of my foam board using some gold bling wrap that I had at home. So I had to measure the thickness that I needed for the bling wrap before cutting it down. After getting the thickness of the bling wrap that I needed, I took my scissors and had to cut it down so as to make it easier to glue it down on the side of the foam board. Once I was done gluing down the gold bling wrap all around the foam board, I went ahead to arrange my mirror tiles onto the pattern that I had arranged before cutting the foam board. After placing the mirror tiles and making sure they fit well on the foam board, I took my hot glue gun and I glued the mirror tiles down one at a time. So I had to add enough amount of hot glue so as to make sure my mirror tiles are well secured onto the foam board. I then added some big crystal tiles onto the bottom part of the candle holder, which will help in moving or easier movement of the candle holder on top of the surface, which will be placed either a coffee table or a console table. I then added the gold bling wrap all around the glasses also. I had only to glue down on 2 glasses since the gold wrap was not enough, but later on I'll add the gold wrap onto the other 2 glasses. Once I was done, I went ahead to arrange the glasses on top of the mirror tiles. I had to arrange them to make sure they fit well onto the mirror tiles before gluing them down. Once they were well fit, I went ahead and took my hot glue gun and glued them down one at a time. And this is how the candle holder looks like. I really love how it has turned out. It's so pretty. I then took my candles and sprayed them using the bright gold spray paint. Finally guys, this is the end look of my beautiful candle holder. It's easy and simple to make. I just love how it has turned out. I love also how the bling wrap is blending with my Christmas cones. As you can see, the LED lights, they have a Christmas like lighting, and I really love that because it's almost Christmas time and I needed something that will have like Christmas colors, so I got these LED lights. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this beautiful candle holder. On to my next project. I got my inspiration from these beautiful wall mirrors that I saw from a GALLERIE website, and I really wanted to make them using only two items: the foam board that I got from dollar store and also some acrylic mirrors that I got from Amazon. I'll put the link for this acrylic mirror in the description box if you're interested in buying one. They also have a protective film, which protects the inner part of the acrylic mirror. First, I started by cutting the foam board onto the measurements that I needed for the wall art. So I used 15 centimeters as the height for the wall mirror. That is, the one side of the wall mirror will be 15 centimeters in height. After measuring the foam board, I took my X-Acto knife and I had to cut out the foam board that I had measured. I further went ahead to measure the foam board again, which I had cut. So I wanted to get some strips which are 1 inch thick and 15 centimeters long. So I had to make some markings on the top part of the foam board and also on the bottom part of the foam board so as to give me the right thickness that I needed for my strips. I then took my ruler and my X-Acto knife to cut out the strips one at a time. This is how the strips turned out. They are 15 centimeters long and 1 inch thick. I then took my metallic spray paint. I'll be using it to spray the sides of the foam board, only the sides. So I went outside and gave my strips 2 coats of the metallic spray paint. Since my acrylic mirrors were hexagon in shape, I had first of all to cut the outer side so as to give me a rectangular shape, so as to make it easier to cut down the strips that are required to cover the foam board. Just as I did on the foam board, I went ahead to make a marking on the acrylic mirror which measures 1 inch thick, just the same size as the foam board strips. Then I took my pencil and I had to draw some lines which will guide me on where to cut the acrylic mirrors. This is how the acrylic mirror turns out. They are the same size as the foam board strips, 15 centimeters long and 1 inch thickness. The silver spray paint was dry. I took my foam boards and this is the time whereby I'll be sticking the acrylic mirrors onto the foam board. As usual, I used my silicone glue. I had to place some few drops of silicone glue on top of the foam board before placing the acrylic mirror on top of the foam board. I had done this before in most of my projects. I'll put the link of those projects which have used similar method to stick the acrylic mirrors on the foam board. Kindly check them out in the description box. Once the glue was dry, I went ahead and took my foam board strip. At the edges of foam board strip, I had to cut them at an angle of 45 degrees. I used my square ruler to guide me on drawing the lines which measures 45 degrees at the edges of my foam board strip. After making the markings at the edge of the foam board, I went ahead and took my X-Acto knife and my ruler to cut off the excess part of the foam board. I also used a pair of scissors to cut off the excess part of the acrylic mirror on the foam board. This is how the strips turned out. I went ahead to arrange them into the pattern that I needed to make my wall mirror. I had to use a square ruler to guide me on placing the foam board strips at an angle of 90 degrees. As you can see, this is how I placed my mirrors, and after placing them like that, I went ahead and took my hot glue gun and started gluing them down one at a time. After gluing down the foam board strip, this is how the mirrors have turned out. So I'll be using these strips to arrange them into the pattern that I needed for the wall mirror. As you can see, this is the pattern that I used to arrange my wall mirrors strips. Once I made sure the mirrors were well arranged, I went ahead and took off the protective film onto the wall mirrors, only on the half part where the top part of the wall mirror will lie. After removing the protective film, I placed back the mirror and made some markings so as to guide me on where to place the mirror back after placing the hot glue. I then went ahead to add hot glue onto the markings that I had made earlier. I had to put enough amount of hot glue so as to secure my top part of the wall mirror well. After that, I took the top part of the mirror and placed it carefully onto the markings that I had made earlier. After making sure it fits onto the marking that I had made earlier, I pressed it firmly so as to make sure the glue holds on well. I made 3 of them, as you can see, and I'll be mounting them on the wall using some hot glue guns temporarily before I put them at their right place. And finally guys, this is the end look of my beautiful wall mirrors that I've made just using 2 items. I love how they have turned out, and they are easy and also inexpensive to make. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the end product of my wall mirrors. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. If you really like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and also leave a comment in the comment section. There's some more of my videos at the end screen. Please remember to watch more of my videos, and if you haven't subscribed, there's a subscribe button at the end screen of my video. Bye bye, see you next time for a new video.